All right, let's talk AI, but we're going way beyond the generic one-size-fits-all models today. I'm talking about creating an AI that really gets you, your business, your customers, your unique language. This is all about building a serious competitive edge. So let's dive in. So let me ask you, does your current AI model ever feel like it's just missing the mark? Maybe it stumbles over your industry's specific jargon, or the tone it uses just doesn't sound like your brand. It happens all the time. I mean, these foundation models are incredibly smart. They've been trained on practically the whole internet. But the thing is, they don't know the first thing about your specific world. And that's exactly where customization comes into play. For the next few minutes, think of me as your AWS solutions architect. I'm going to be your guide. We're going to map out exactly how to build a custom AI model on Amazon Bedrock, one that's tailored specifically for you, driving way better accuracy and creating real, measurable business value. Okay, so here's our game plan. First, we'll cover the why. Why even bother doing this? Then we'll get into the fun stuff, the two main ways you can actually teach your model. We'll also talk about a really clever technique called distillation that gets you smarter results for less money. After that, we'll look at how to make sure your model keeps improving over time. And finally, we'll get down to the brass tacks: deployment, pricing, and performance. So, first things first, why even go through the trouble? Well, it really boils down to two things: accuracy and setting yourself apart from the competition. Think about it. If you're in a specialized field, like finance or medicine, a generic model just isn't going to cut it. It won't understand the nuance. But a model that's trained on your documents, on your data, it's going to perform light years better. This isn't just a small upgrade. It's a genuine competitive advantage. Okay, so you're on board with customizing. Awesome. That brings us to your first big decision. How are we actually going to teach this model? You have two main roads you can go down, and they have very different approaches to learning. We've got supervised fine-tuning and reinforcement fine-tuning. Let's break down these two paths. On the left, we have supervised fine-tuning, or SFT. This method learns from a perfect answer key. It's all about replication. On the right, we have reinforcement fine-tuning, RFT, which learns from feedback and rewards. It's all about aligning the AI with the outcomes you want. Let's dig into each of these a bit more. First up is SFT, and the textbook analogy here is spot on. Imagine you're giving the model a study guide filled with questions and the exact right answers. You provide a data set of high-quality prompt and completion pairs, and the model learns to copy that style and structure. Now, this is super important. The quality of your data is everything. It's the classic garbage in, garbage out. Your model will only be as good as the examples you teach it with. All right, now for reinforcement fine-tuning. This is way less like a textbook and a lot more like a coaching session. You don't give it the perfect answers up front. Instead, the model tries an action, and reward function, your coach, gives it feedback, like warmer or colder, to steer it in the right direction. It learns by trying to get the highest score. This is incredibly powerful for subjective tasks, and we've seen it deliver an average accuracy gain of 66% over base models. That's huge. Okay, so you know how to teach a model, but what if you could get that premium, top-tier performance on a budget? Well, you can. That's the efficiency play, and it's a really clever technique called model distillation. This is the classic dilemma, right? You want the deep thinking power of a massive teacher model, but you need the speed and lower cost of a smaller student model for your actual application. Do you have to choose one or the other? Nope. With distillation, you can actually get the best of both worlds. The professor-student analogy here is just perfect. You have a master-teacher model, a big, powerful one, and then you have a smaller student model. The student essentially learns by watching the master solve thousands of complex problems. It's not just memorizing answers, it's absorbing the teacher's reasoning and techniques. All that intelligence gets distilled into a smaller, cheaper, and faster package. And you know the best part? Amazon Bedrock automates this whole workflow. All you have to do is pick your teacher and student models and provide a set of prompts from your specific use case. Bedrock then uses the teacher to create a brand new, high-quality synthetic dataset and uses that to fine-tune the student model. It's an incredibly efficient way to get a powerful, custom model. Now, creating your custom model, that's not the end of the journey. Your business needs are always changing. New data is always coming in, and your model needs to evolve too. This is where we enter the iterative loop of continuous improvement. Yeah, this quote from the AWS AI blog just nails it. The point is, you don't have to start from scratch every single time you want to make an improvement. Instead, iterative fine-tuning lets you build on the work you've already done. It's safer, it's faster, and honestly, it's just a much more strategic way to operate. And the process looks just like this. You take your version 1 custom model, you see where it could be better, and you feed it a small, targeted set of new data to address those areas. You run another fine-tuning job right on top of your existing model, and out comes version 2, smarter and more capable than before, all without the cost and risk of a full retrain. All right, we've covered the how. Now for the part every project manager is waiting for. This sounds great, but how much is it going to cost? So let's talk about the budget, how you deploy this thing, and what kind of performance you can expect. The costs really break down into 3 parts. First, there's a one-time training cost based on the amount of data you process. We measure that in tokens, which you can think of as pieces of words. Second, there's a tiny monthly fee to store your model. And third is the ongoing inference cost. That's what you pay to actually run it. And here's the key takeaway. While training is a one-time fee, your biggest ongoing expense will be inference. That's why choosing the right deployment model is so critical for your ROI. You have 2 main options for inference. On-demand is pay as you go, perfect for development in unpredictable traffic. But for most custom models in production, you're going to use provisioned throughput. This gives you your own dedicated capacity at a fixed hourly rate, which means you get stable, consistent performance for your really important applications. So here's my final recommendation as your architect. Start with on-demand for all your experimentation and testing. When you're ready for production and you have predictable traffic, move over to provisioned throughput for that rock-solid performance. And one last pro tip. Don't forget about batch inference. If you have large jobs that aren't super urgent, it can be a massive cost saver. And there you have it. We've covered the why, the how, and the how much. You now have the complete roadmap for moving from a generic AI to one that is uniquely yours, one that's smarter or efficient and perfectly aligned with your business. The only question left is, where will you go with it?